the home of cricket and venue for the Nigeria Super League, the maiden edition. Big shout out to all those who have made this very possible, from the Nigerian Cricket Federation under the leadership of Uyo Sanosawaru Akpata and the entire board members, our sponsors, Rusa Advisory, EMR Mining Limited, Ganhold Investment Limited, Dafa Bet, Sego Family Foundation. We'd like to say a big thank you to you all. This is the moment we have all been waiting for. The group games are done and dusted. The weed has been eliminated from the shaft. And now we are getting into the elimination stage. And this game that is up for your viewing pleasure will determine those who will be playing in Saturday's final. And it's the first place team versus the second place team. From third position, they moved to first position by virtue of their victory yesterday over the Northern Lions, the Middlewell Tigers, led by their captain, Sulaiman Rushewe, Nigeria's national team captain. And the Southern Sharks eventually finished in second position. Captain of the team, Isaac Okwe. And let me just quickly run you through the home team, the Middlewell Tigers. But before then, let's see what happened at the center when Peter Oladosu was there.
The group stage matches have been completed, and it is the first eliminator between the first and second on the group stage. On the group table, my corrections, we have with us here the skipper of the Middlewell Tigers, Sulaiman Rushewe, the captain of the Southern Sharks as well, Isaac Okwe, and our third umpire for the day, Kende Olabionu, the home team skipper. Please take the toss for us. Let's have that toss retaken, shall we? Southern Shark horse steals. And heads we have it. Skipper of the Middlewell Tigers, what will your team be doing first and why?
I would love to bowl first this morning. It looks overcast in the later on, and I think it's good for us to bowl first in the morning with the winds out there.
A lot of tough matches you have played in the group stage, but you and the team finishing on top. Do you look to push that momentum and go all the way into the final round?
I think group stage match is the past. We just need to look after the processes as we go on into the semis.
Thank you very much. Captain of the Southern Sharks, you've been sent into bat first. How will your team approach it?
Definitely we'll take it the same way we take it the last game. So take every ball as it's come and get a good total. Always be ahead about maybe like 10 runs and over. Get off to a good target. If we get extra, it's fine for us.
I will ask you again, how many runs are you looking to put on the board?
Like I just said, if we get 10 runs and over, if you calculate it, it's about, it takes us almost 130.
Thank you very much. And there you have it in the middle, the captain of the Middlewell Tigers winning the toss and electing to bowl first.
All right, thank you very much, Peter. Excellent from the center. The Middlewell Tigers, the home team, winning the toss and electing to field, thereby putting the away team, the Southern Sharks, to go and bat. The two on-field umpires for today, umpire Temitope Oniko Ijabar, and of course, one of the finest in Africa, and the man who has just been inducted into the International Cricket Council Development Panel of International Umpires, and the first Nigerian to achieve so, one of the few to cross 50 as far as T20 international games are concerned, Habib Dairu Amoto Balogun Enesi. He also achieved that feat in Abuja when Nigeria hosted the second West Africa Trophy. And for Temitope Oniko Ijabar, she achieved hers when Nigeria hosted the Women's T20 Invitational, which Nigeria hosted and also won, defeating their arch rivals, Rwanda, in the final. And see The Southern Sharks having a conversation amongst themselves, led by their captain, Isaac Okwe, talking to the guys, the need for them to stay focused and the need for them to do the needful as far as batting is concerned. But let me quickly run you through the side that would be fielding, and they are already on the field, led by their captain, Sulaiman Rushewe, sporting jersey number 7, David Ankra, jersey number 20, Egosa Agedo Destiny, jersey number 55, Elijah Olale, jersey number 21, Elo Chuku Undubem, jersey number 16, Ewere Osaigboha, jersey number 10, Pelumi Orimolade, jersey number 58, Rashid Abolan, jersey number 9, Samuel Okparamba, jersey number 77, Shino Abodele, jersey number 88, and the player of the match from yesterday, the wicket-keeper, jersey number 22, Solomon Chilemaya. The 12th man for today is Unity Egbue, who wears jersey number 11. The 13th is Folajunwon Ogunaike, jersey number 8, and Kosi Udekwe is jersey number 56. Let me quickly run you through the team list of the Southern Sharks who are going into bat, led by their captain, Isaac Okwe, jersey number 10, Isaac Danladi, jersey number 70, Abdullah Ismail, jersey number 38, Ayeni Precious, jersey number 15, Brighton Young, jersey number 2, Gideon Drotoy, jersey number 3, Folajimi Owolabi, jersey number 5, Ismail Shitu, jersey number 46, Kenneth Boniface, jersey number 99, Kufrola Lukman, jersey number 69, Miracle Aigbe, jersey number 1, Odion Isesele, jersey number 59, and the 12th man is Paul Eboka, jersey number 11, and we also have Peculiar Egemasi, who is sporting jersey number 17. The die is cast, the stage is set. It's going to be a reduced over, and I will be introducing my colleague. Today is another holiday. Once again, it's still Happy Eid Kabir to everyone across the globe celebrating. The celebration continues. Peter Oladoshu, great to have you at the commentary position.
It is great to be here, and also in a very much decided. We've been waiting very long to see these knockout matches come into play, and the fact that we are here now just tells us that all this team here have put in effort, and in terms of energy as well. We saw how Chilemania exploded yesterday with the bat, and also behind the wicket, making sure that those balls do not go behind him. Two caught behind, he did 2 stumped and 1 run out.
Egosa, one of the few players to have won 2 player of the match. Coming from the Lagos High Court, which we call the Court of Appeal end. 2 balls he has bowled. Isesele Evangel, Odion finding it difficult, and Miracle Ahigbe, the other non-striker, and the both of them are having a tete-a-tete at the center. And I also saw the on-field umpire, Temitokwe, having a conversation with Egosa. He's bowled 2 smell letters.
Not the kind of start you expect to see from a team that went on to score 72 in 5 overs. This is also a reduced over format. They have to play 13 overs because of the weather and time restriction. And you would expect to see that they will have runs on the ball, but I'm not surprised to see that Egosa has taken charge. You know, he was injured, missing 2 matches. Wanting to dodge that ball. It didn't make contact with his body, but he still took a run off it. I don't know, leg by is the signal, even though the contact point, what was the back? But you can only give it that leg by or a by, so that will add to the run. Still yet to play a run off the bat, and I'm talking about the Southern Sharks, but 1 run on the board off that by.
From the bowler to the 2 batters, the striker and the non-striker, they are all familiar foes. They represent the same state, Edo State. And you can safely say that presently that's the dominant state across the 6 geopolitical zones at the last National Sports Festival, the 22nd edition, hosted by the Gateway States. The gates were open for people to come and take medals, but the Gateway States couldn't take medals. Edo State was dominant, and these players were part of that successful team.
Well done, I would say, to a goal, sir. The Southern Sharks only able to register 1 run at the end of the first over.
Aigbe Miracle yet to get into the groove. Isesele Odion also yet to get into the groove. Isesele has faced 4 balls, no run. Aigbe has faced 2 balls, no run. But they have just 1 run after the first over. This is a very important game for both teams. And there is a conversation there at the center. Habib Dairu Amoto Enesi having a conversation with Ehosa, and the captain Sulaiman Rushewe is also incorporated into that conversation, not also leaving out Temitope Oniko Ijabar. Whatever they said there, just truly don't know, but it's definitely about the progress of the game, which is very key to all of us who are here. And Undubudem Elochuku will be coming from the pavilion end into the second over.
They seem to have found a region where Isesele cannot play into, and they've decided to keep that ball outside of far too many times for him. A region that he has struggled to play in between. 8 balls already have been bowled and only 1 run. I hope the Southern Sharks are aware that it is only 13 overs of play, and they've wasted already 7 of 8 deliveries being bowled so far. The first wicket, the adventurous Isesele has lost his wicket with that reverse sweep attempt.
This definitely will not be to the delight of the coach, Coach Seyi Shonde, one of the finest coaches to ever come out of Nigeria, and currently the director
Overs of play,
at the
and they've wasted already 7
Ogun
of
State
8 deliveries
Sports
bowled
Commission.
so far.
See that again. Caught there by Solomon Chilemaya, the man who has an eye for doing such a thing. And I must say, Solomon Chilemaya, I'm loving the young man the more. When he won the player of the match, the very first one he won, I had a conversation with him, and I had to openly tell him, Solomon, you are an interviewer's delight. In comes Danladi Isaac, the man who took the game away from Eastern Elephant. And Peter, if there's anything Mr. President has always preached, is sports and education, because he's a beneficiary of such, a successful chartered accountant at that. And I will share something with you about Solomon Chilemaya that I think the world needs to know. But let's get back to the game. Over to you, Peter.
Finally, somebody to start scoring the runs off the bat. I'm not surprised to see that it is the batter with the fastest 50 in the Nigerian Super League, finding that caught in between the wicket keeper and the backward point, sending that ball beyond the boundary ropes. 4-4 meant that has been his favorite shot. Used it quite very often, 3 separate occasions, 4 to be more accurate, against the Eastern Elephants that saw them post that high competitive total. Really, they need to know the kind of batter Isaac Danladi is and try and cover on the runs as quickly or as frequently as possible. It's not an easy man to get out. That he's talking about Danladi Isaac. Ondobidem also one of the best bowlers in this tournament. Not just for the Middlebelt Tigers, but also in the bowling chat, as he tops with 9 wicket taken so far. And Danladi Isaac already was just the top batter of the tournament for a little over 24 hours before Chilemania took that lead back. Currently, these two sides have been the most dominant in this tournament with the bat and with the ball.
That was the wicket that got Isesele out. And first ball for Danladi Isaac, sending that to the boundary. Peter was saying something about Solomon Chilemaya, who is standing behind Danladi Isaac. They are neck on neck. Prior to this game, Solomon Chilemaya was 1 run ahead of Danladi Isaac. But Danladi Isaac has gone back again to the summit of the batting. Before this game, it was on 144. And for those of you who are proponents of mathematics, excluding Shinwa Jidagba, when you add 144 plus 5, it gives you 149. And Solomon Chilemaya is on 145. He is here to bat.
Seeing Isaac Danladi coming to that batting, I think has rejuvenated something. And not just him, Bo Miracle Wakibe hasn't had a run, and now that the Disesele of his bat before getting dismissed. They need to start scoring the runs now, given that we are already in the 3rd over of play. And they really need to put as many runs as possible against these dominant Middlebelt Tigers. A run-out call, but Danladi Isaac was already there. Direct hit. What a quick gamble by the Southern Sharks that has looked to pay off. If that wicket of Danladi Isaac had been the sludge, it would have been an entirely different tale. Effective as ever, Agusa. The lucky thing about this first eliminator, that's why the first and second position on the table was a tug of war between 3 sides. Because the important thing about this eliminator is that whoever loses this match doesn't get out immediately. They will still have a second chance at slugging it out between whoever wins between 3rd and 4th. But no team wants to actually put themselves in that position and want to pick that win that sends them straight into the finals, where they can have tomorrow off and prepare for the finals.
Oh, stand and deliver there. He has been threatened. He has been disturbed. But now he can get himself away from the stress that comes with the bowling of Egosa. Miracle Aigbe. See that again on replay. Stand and deliver. Piercing those gaps. Nothing could happen except the ball racing to the boundary. I will share something with you about these two teams when they met. They last played on Saturday, and today they are facing each other again.
A good comeback from Egosa, and Aigbe has already kick-started his runs, and right now 13 runs for 1 after 3 overs. Seems quite low for the Southern Sharks, especially given how very important this match is. This is not just about table placement anymore, it's about the next round possibility.
You can say that again. The two umpires are having serious conversation, and I saw the third umpire, Kendi Olambiwonu, trying to go into the field, but the other umpires were just not bothered about what was going to happen, which looked more like a change of the ball. But they say everything is good, we can continue. More importantly, with the consent of the captain of the Middlebelt Tigers, Sulaiman Rushewe. And we are getting into the 4th over. The projected score is 56.
Could have done much better in the deep. Certainly should have. That ball was already racing in front of him. Pelumi dropped a catch yesterday, and today at the boundary ropes is let a 4 bypass him. Had himself in front of the ball. I don't know how that ball managed to get beyond him, but the Southern Sharks will have him to thank for that sporadic rise in runs for them.
You can see the wicketkeeper, Solomon Chilemaya, trying to readjust the field setting. He has one thing at the back of his mind. They know Danladi Isaac, aka Mr. Stabilizer, is a tormentor-in-chief in the batting crease. There's a bit of sentiment coming with this. He doesn't want Danladi Isaac to last in the batting crease, so he doesn't punish the team. Then he's also eyeing a situation where he gets in to usurp Danladi Isaac on the batting chart.
Yeah, the biggest threat right now as it stands is not just Danladi Isaac, but they also have Kenneth Boniface, who is also on the batting chart for runs. But right now, their biggest threat is Danladi Isaac. Would that be a catch? Goes to Audele Shina, and he gets it. The much-needed wicket for the Middlebelt Tigers has been taken, and it was caught in the inner ring by the player fielded at mid-off. Audele Shina, safe hands it is, and it is no surprise to see that that ball was going to be a catch. It was long coming, like you said, and anticipated. The field placement was set for that kind of situation, and that is the outcome, much to the benefit of the Middlebelt Tigers.
You can say that again. Danladi Isaac finishes on 11. He's still leading as far as batting is concerned, because currently now he's on 155. And when these two teams met, Peter, it was the Middlebelt Tigers getting the better of the Southern Sharks. And in that game, Kenneth Boniface scored 57 runs. This Danladi Isaac, who scored 11 runs, scored 49, and one short of him getting 50, he scored 49 not out. And the other batter was Solomon Chilimaya, who now plays for the Middlebelt Tigers, who scored 47 in that game. And Umbuduben Elochukwu took 2 wickets that day. Isaac Okwe also took 2 wickets. We wait to see how everything will all pan out. But as it stands, they are in a good place. And I'm talking about the Middlebelt Tigers.
I mean, we're used to seeing the Middlebelt Tigers cup down the runs and the Southern Sharks go all out. But so far, the runs are in favor for the Middlebelt Tigers. Gideon has not really done that much of a good job yet, almost getting himself bowled out. That ball was a narrow escape. Solomon Chilimaya is not giving the batter any breather and has kept them on their toes, knowing fully well that any ball that goes beyond of him ends up in the gloves of the wicket keeper, who does not waste a second getting those bills dislodged. The power play signal has come to an end, which means that the feud can be expanded. But Undubudin will not use that yet. Last ball, and want to keep his feud in check using only a deep square leg and a deep mid wicket. Not missing any chance again. That would have been a run out if Gideon hadn't stayed active. Didn't make contact and didn't lose his wicket either. That will bring us to the end of the 4th over. The Southern Sharks in a dilemma. The Middlebelt Tigers are in control. 19 is what they have on the board. 2 wickets lost.
You want to say this is strategic on the part of Sulaiman Rushewe. Usually you see Rashid Abolari come on time to bowl, or he's coming now in the 5th over. And don't forget that we are having a reduced over. 13 overs is what we are going to be seeing. Rashid Abolari will be coming from the Court of Appeal end to replace Egosa, who has done creditably well from that end.
Bit of inconsistency in performance for Abolari Abdul Rashid, but not surprised to see because he's one of the most important bowlers that the Middlebelt Tigers have right now. In the absence of Egosa, he was the opening bowler, has come back in and will need to complement. The runs are already at a steady pace for not just him but the Middlebelt Tigers, and he will need to continue on this stride and keep the Southern Sharks in check. And he starts his bowling over with an extra. Not a good start and not a good way to continue with the baton being passed to you, Abolari. Much better bowling from Abolari Rashid.
This is not what they expect from Rashid Abolari. Peter is almost getting a bit uncomfortable with the team. That was another wide delivered and 1 run advantage taken, making 2. So he has given 2 wides in this over, and a few balls have been bowled.
Hit hard on the deck, he did with that one as that ball was pitched short. Gideon is yet to find his rhythm, just like Kwahigbe earlier on, but there are not too many balls and not too many lifelines for you to try and build up your innings. You need to start going out and trying to make contact with the ball as very quickly as possible.
Good pick up by Undubudem, and it's just 2 runs. And 4.3 overs currently bowled. Rashida Bolari into his first over, but more importantly, the 5th over for today's game. Duro Toye, Gideon, and Aigbe Miracle are the batters.
You know, earlier on, Arthur Tolles, the skipper of the Southern Sharks, said that they want to try and put in 10 runs at the end of every over, but right now they're struggling to even get to 6, and that's going a run per ball. The current run rate is sitting at 5.36, which means that the projected score will sit at 70 instead of 130 that we would expect at the end of the 13th over. An advantage of his lean did Akibe take, playing that ball straight down and getting himself off the strike. 0-3, and Ahibe will need to do more than just taking ones right now. The runs are actually quite low. I understand that wickets have been lost, but the Southern Sharks know what is at stake right now. There may be a second lifeline, but that doesn't mean they cannot be eliminated if they go on to lose this match.
Run out chance. But both batters are safe. I had a conversation with the captain of the Southern Sharks, Isaac Okwe. And he said, if I had won the toss, I would have loved to go and field. But haven't lost that toss, and I've been put in to go and bat. We hope to get a 120, 130, which might just be safe. And on conversation with Sulaiman Ruchewe, the captain of the Middlebelt Tigers, I asked, is there confirming of supremacy on his mind, knowing that when these two teams met on Saturday, May 23rd, 2026, they won that game by 5 wickets. Said, that is gone. This is the most important game for them, and they want to see how they can reduce their opponents to less than 100, which will be chaseable for them. Undubudem is back. I was a dangerous ball bowled there, and Durotoye Gideon just survived the scare.
Struggled to play any of Undubudem's balls since stepping into that batting crease. Felt that was a run-out opportunity, a stumped opportunity by the way Solomon Chilemaya, the wicket keeper. Gideon Durotoye has not made contact with any of the last 4 balls of Undubudem that he has come up against, coming in of the last 2 balls of that 4th over, and now it is there. 3rd time is the charm for Gideon Durotoye as he takes himself off the strike and takes the pressure off of him as well, passing the baton down to Miracle Ahigwe, who needs to now try and put more runs on the board, almost at 36 balls faced and not yet in 30. I'm talking about the Southern Sharks, who are currently batting. Goes down, meets that ball before end of bounds and send Gideon Durutaye out to strike. And Undubudem is not even giving any chance of a breather to the batters going back immediately after the ball is bowled, not giving them that time to find their rhythm. And it seems to be working out for him as the runs have just been coming at 1-1-1, going towards the same field at Pelumi, who is being put at the extra cover region. 3 runs, all on the same side. Undubudem will want to finish off with putting that ball on the wicket line and seeing if Miracle Ahigbe might take the bait. Six balls bowled, 3 dots, 3 runs. The total now sits at 30 for only 2 wickets lost after 6 overs completed.
Miracle Igbe has had the opportunity to bat from ball 1 up until this moment. He has 7 runs from 9 balls he has faced. Durotoye Gideon just got into bat. He has faced 10 balls and scored 6, and that is it. His SLA Odion Evangel didn't score any run after facing 7 balls. Igbe Miracle, the other batter, has faced 9 balls, scored 7 runs. Danladi Isaac, quite unfortunate, 2 falls, 130 strike rate, faced 10 balls, scored 13 runs. And Durotoye Gideon has faced 10 balls and scored 6 runs. The other batters are yet to bat. The likes of Captain Isaac Okwe, Kenneth Boniface are still very much. Rashida Bolari into his second over. Yet to get a wicket. Much better bowling there from Rashid into that 7th over.
Much better approach this time by Rashid earlier on in his previous over, give out 8 runs. 1 run so far. The last 2 balls remains to see if he can continue on the stride of consistency. Miracle Ahigbe has been here long enough. Miracle Ahigbe, as I was saying, has been in that batting crease long enough, so really needs to register more runs for the Southern Sharks. This is very, very important because the moment the runs don't come, the batters become a little bit more explosive, and that you get to see them sky balls up in the air. Happened with the Northern Lions yesterday. Desperation made them lose a lot of wickets to get in caught. The most overused player right now for the fielding side has been the extra covers, as the bowlers have continually maintained a line outside of the wicket, forcing the batters to only play into the gap. And the extra covers has had to do a lot of ball picking besides the wicket keeper. Finally plays it above the infield. Undubudem gave it that chase all the way from third man, as that ball wouldn't get to the boundary ropes, but what it certainly did was give the Southern Sharks an opportunity to take not 1, not 2, but 3 runs. 2 runs, my corrections. Gideon Durutaye still stays on strike.
He walks away to do that. And that is a lovely piece of fielding there from the man sporting jersey number 77 for the Middlebelt Tigers, Samuel Okpara, who didn't have a good game yesterday with the bats. But there is an opportunity for him to do so now. The captain decides to take responsibility. Sulaiman Rushewe, after 7 overs, comes in to bowl, and the Southern Sharks are 36 for loss of 2 wickets. Gideon needs to change canvas so he can run very well and score those runs, as things are not going according to plans. They are currently on 5.14, and if he stays like this, the projected score at the end of the day will be 67. And that might not be good runs on the table for the Southern Sharks to defend. And he's getting himself ready. He's currently the non-striker. He has scored more runs than the man who started from ball 1 up onto this stage, Miracle Ahigbe, who has faced a ball less. 12 he has faced. And Droto has faced 13, but he has scored less runs. Wide ball is what he starts with, and they still take advantage of that 1 run to make it 2.
And an end to the 7th over. It is 38 on the board. The Southern Sharks really need to start doing more with only 2 wickets they've lost, which means they've got 8 more in the bag, 7 in the bag if you exclude the 2 wickets they have in hand and the batting craze. This was that catch of Danladi Isaac, all going off the neck edge of the bat and into the hands of Awodele Shina. Wasn't going anywhere and wasn't definitely, Awodele Shina is not the type of fielder to let a ball out of his grip. With the Middlebelt Tigers looking to continuously dominate against this Southern Sharks side, you can tell, because when they lost their match earlier on against the Middlebelt Tigers, against the Central Eagles, my question, the Middlebelt Tigers picked up form again, going up against the Southern Sharks.
Those are highlights of some of the things that have happened up until this moment. The wickets, the boundaries, the misplaced fielding, all chronicled. And Sulaiman Rushewe will continue from the pavilion end.
It's not. It's not the type of bowler to give out too many runs. Sulaiman said we are having one of the best economy in this tournament with 5.29 and 5 innings bowled in. Pulls it behind. Will that ball get to the ropes? No, it won't. But what will happen is it will end up in the hands of Egoza, who is cheekily celebrating that much in that wicket. Miracle Ehigwe has been pushed to the wall, and in turn, in the look of a response, has lost another wicket. It seems that these teams only function well under pressure. If you look at that ball again, could have pulled it much sooner and waited for that ball, waited too close and played it into the arms of Egosa. And now Kenneth Boniface has had to come in. He's one of the top batters for the Southern Sharks. Currently on 110 in only 4 batting innings. This is where it matters the most, as he needs to be able to replicate all of those forms that he has started off in today's very much needed encounter. A run-out chance, overthrow. Gideon Drutaye wanting to take a single that he had not beckoned for, and taking Kenneth Boniface unaware, who refused to take that run. That will be a thought. And look, wicket escape there. 6 wicket still in the bag, as 2 batters are still in the batting crease. Flicks it to his leg side as expected and takes himself off the strike. Kenneth Boniface gets his run ticking, but the runs is very currently quite low. Like I said, teams seem to have performed better when we're playing in a much reduced over format. You can look at the first reduced over format where we saw the Middlebelt Tiger register 85 on the run board, narrowly beating the Eastern Elephants. And then when you go into the older reduced over match that we had, I'm talking Central Eagles versus Western Dolphins. Central Eagles registering 73 on the board. Western Dolphins only able to respond with 67. And also the only other reduced over before now that we had being the Southern Sharks and Eastern Elephants, saw the Southern Sharks post 72 on the board. So if you look at it statistically, teams have scored more runs in the reduced over format than when we're going all out, as the runs haven't been that too many. Goes big, would that be another catch? And then goes out, drops it. That was even looking much easier than the previous. And the skipper is very livid. Makes the catch and almost giving out 4 runs there. Goes, I'm talking about. Look, picked up in the air. Even Kenneth Boniface, I feel that he had gotten in caught. The team cannot believe it, given the quality of player that Egusa is. But Kenneth Boniface would like to fight another day, and remains to see if he will punish this Middlebelt Tigers for that extra life he's been awarded.
And you can see from the look on Sulaiman's face, whenever he bowls and he sees those kind of shots, one hand is up, more like, please help me out. Ehosa tried all he could, but unfortunately could not get this time around, just like he did for Miracle Igwe. So Durotoye Gideon still has another life to continue to bat. But one other thing that saved the Middlebelt Tigers, and by extension Ehosa, is the fact that the ball did not only drop, but eventually did not get to a 4. That would have been more painful. And you can see the hand on the head of Samuel Umba, who felt that was a golden opportunity. 8 overs gone, 42 for 3. The current run rate stands at 5.25, and the projected score will be 68, which is to the delight of Sulaiman, but dismay of Captain Isaac Okwe, because that's not what he envisaged.
Now that they're coming to attack the Storms, the runs have been coming. If you look at the previous bowling overs of the likes of Abolari and Ndubudem taking the balls away from the wicket, the runs were at very minimum. Awadele Shina as well as Suleiman Rusewe had come for the Storms and have given that space for the Southern Sharks to try and just nick the balls towards open street facing and try and score runs. Caught it in between the gap. No one gave a chase as that ball was certainly destined for beyond the ropes. 4 runs as Gideon Druti, a very, very convenient batter, we playing the square court short, gets that one into the gap. 4 more runs it is for the Southern Sharks.
Watch it again on replay. There was nothing the fielders could do. Even Undubudem Elochukwu had to jog just to pick the ball from boundary. And look at Sulaiman Rushewe admonishing the man who got one of the precious wickets for today, the wicket of Danladi Isaac, Shina Wodele, that please calm down. Calm down. I know you can deliver this. Much better this time around. Just 1 run. But Shino has bowled 2 balls, 5 runs, and he has 3 more balls to be bowled. He has bowled 3 balls, 6 runs, and they are scoring off every run. Off every ball Shino is bowling, runs are coming, and this will further increase the projected score. Dorothea Gideon standing tall, currently the best batter for the Southern Sharks. There is a run, and 1 more good ball to be bowled would have meant that 9th over will be done and dusted. We are left with 4 more overs. No run from the last ball. 8 overs given into his first over. It's 50 for 3. The projected score stands at 72. The current run rate has increased a bit, 5.56. Kenneth Boniface yet to get into the groove, one of the few players to have scored an half century in this tournament. Only 3 players have scored half century. None has gone on to score a century. The 3 players, Selim Salau, this young man on your screen, and of course, Kenneth Boniface is part of them.
Makes that approach and gets that ball over the infield all the way to the boundary for much needed boosting runs for the Southern Sharks. Gideon Druti since coming in has faced 20 balls and registering 25 runs, but the Southern Sharks will need more going into the last 3 overs of this game. Currently we're sitting at 3.4 overs available for the Southern Sharks. And the runs look very much chaseable going into the second innings. Solomon Chilimaya are waiting for just that minor slip-up by Gideon Druti, be it a caught or an edge or stump behind. He wants that chance, and should he get it, he would not lose it.
Hoping not to have a missed opportunity of dropping Gideon Drotoye. Dabs the ball for a runner chance. And we're almost going to take another one. 9.5 overs gone. One more over. We will be inching closer to the end of the 13th over. But one more good ball to be bowled, and we'll come to the end of the 10th over. Dabs it. An overthrow there from David Ankra, which was not expected. And that is 59 runs for loss of 3 wickets after 10 overs. The current run rate stands at 5.90 and the projected score is 77. 3 more good overs to go. And about time to bring on Olumide Ajao to run us through what we should be expecting in the last 3 frenetic overs of this very important fixture. Good morning, Olumide.
Good morning, Seun Ajidaba. Thank you for having me. Good morning, Peter. You guys have been doing a great job. It's this very enticing and exciting fixture between the Southern Sharks and the Middle Belt Tigers. Southern Sharks doing all in their power to post a formidable total. A total good enough for them to defend. They've started slowly, but surely they've started ticking that scoreboard. They've moved to 59 for 3. Drotoye being that mainstay. And this encounter is coming early, and he stood his ground. He's on 26 of 24 deliveries. Kenneth Boniface complimenting him. 6 runs off 7 deliveries. There's 3 more overs. They need to put something formidable on the board. Shina Awodele, and again, goes big. Trying to go over the inner ring. Gets single there.
The singles are very much needed, even though we are already going into the last 3 overs of play. And the runs are sitting just at 60. I remember speaking with the captain of the Southern Sharks, who said he wanted at least 10 runs per over. Right now, they are not even getting up to 6 runs from 6 leg-out deliveries, not counting the extras. If we count the extras, that has put them at 60, like I said. Their current run rate sitting at 5.81, projected score sitting at 76, and can even also dip if their batters are not scoring more runs. It's gotten already the rhythm of the batters. The batters are trying to go all out by playing with the backhand, putting power ahead of technique, and Awodele Shina will not make himself a victim of that, taking that ball out of the offside and giving himself an advantage should that ball should be lofted towards any leg fielder. There is a deep mid-wicket and a long on in place should any ball go sky high in the air, and will that be a catch? No, it would not. No field setting is going to catch that kind of ball. Kenneth Boniface finally making that much needed contact and getting that big boundary 6 for the Southern Sharks. It is the first maximum for the Southern Sharks, as none of the first 3 batters could make contact.
Shot delivery by Awodele Shina. Since dispatched by Kenneth Boniface. A much needed boundary. They need to step on gas. They need to push that run rate high up. Very good comeback from Shina. A Yorker length delivery there. come back. We should give some compliments to this fielding side. The Middle Eastern Tigers. They've kept this batting side rather quiet. A nice job there for a single. Kenneth Boniface brings the 11th over to an end. 67 for 3 after 11 overs. We have 12 balls left in this encounter.
Is not what sits on the board for 3. The required run rate has somehow increased, sitting previously at 76 and now at 79. 2 more overs left, and the Southern Sharks find themselves with a daunting task coming into the second inning, as that last ball was as Gideon Druty.
Gideon Druty has been retired, and in comes the captain of the Southern Sharks. He's come to take responsibility. Gideon wasn't doing badly, but this tells us the story of how much runs is needed. Captain taking responsibility. His last 12 balls must go for. This partnership was broken by the captain himself. I thought he would have left. Look at that again on the replay.
Yeah,
Look at that for a celebration.
Probably should have waited for Gideon Drew to hit 2 or waited for the over to begin. And now he would have had that chance of coming in right now as it stands. But given that wicket has lost and the batter retired, 3 wickets have become 5 wickets in the space of just one legal delivery. And Young has had to come in very quickly. All batters for the Southern Sharks understand that the only assignment on the board now is to put as many runs on the board as this against a very active middle belt side doesn't seem defendable.
Yeah, I wasn't having that retirement. I think was uncalled for. Drote was a set batter. Now we have 2 new batters in the crease, and it can only swing one way. The current run rate starts to dip with 2 new batters. Very good. Young putting bats to ball right away, rotating that strike. And now Isaac Okpe in action. He's the captain. He retired Drotoe. He needs to do much with his bat. And
Sportsmanship being employed there, as that would have been another wicket. Young would have had to go out without more than 1 ball faced. Cuts that ball into the gap. With that ball raised to the boundary, Abolari Rashid certainly is not giving them that chance, as only 2 runs is what they could register of that delivery. The Southern Sharks are very much in desperation of runs. Only 70 they've registered. As it sees, for the first time in this inning, they've managed to go above 6 runs required per over. Retired Gideon Durote and Isaac Okwe would expect to have gone off explosive off the very first ball, but he seems to be trying to build an inning with only 3 runs of the last 2 balls faced. That a wicket of Kenneth Boniface, that was the slot, has forced him to rethink on his approach and just want to see them take this game probably into the last over. Cuts it big, not in the direction wanted, but above the infield. With that ball raised to the boundary ropes, no, it wouldn't. Attack team partnership between 2 fielders who gave that ball a very big chase. One keeping the ball in, the other getting the ball back in the hands of the wicket keeper. Big chase, Pelumi, not good with his hands, but certainly good on his feet, and that ball wouldn't get to the boundary that the Southern Sharks are so desperately craving for.
I'm sure the Middlebelt Tigers will be happy with these batters just rotating strikes, taking singles and doubles, as long as they don't get the boundaries are still within reach. This run on the board, 75 for 5 after 12. It's 4 apiece for the batters. In the crease, Brighton Young and Isaac Okwe is captain. Beckon for the helmets as Egosa will be coming back into the attack to wrap things up in this inning. You've got 6 more deliveries to end this inning. Peter, you know the Middle Eastern Tigers very well. With 75 on board, you think the Southern Sharks have a chance in the second inning? Maybe their bowling could help them.
Well, in the last encounter between these two sides, only one team dominated and took that win, and it was the Middlebelt Tigers. And so they knew what they were up against and what was at stake. And I think that they've somehow managed to channel that and have picked up form and consistency. Goes big in the air without getting to the boundary ropes, or will that be a catch? In no man's land, just pitching behind the wicket. And the field was already expanded. Escapes a scare there, Isaac Okwe, and that gave him a chance to take 2 runs. It's only 5 more balls to end the inning, just 5 balls available. And Isaac Okwe, the reason why he retired Gideon Durotoye is still yet to be established.
Goes hard. He's not really getting a hold of that ball, Isaac. But we'll get a single from it. They need to score boundaries. They need to put another 10 plus runs on this board to be competitive, knowing the batting pedigree that the Middle Belt Tigers have. Then it goes up. And yeah, he's opening up, trying to find that gap around that mid-wicket area. Good pickup, but they'll get 2. Bright Unyong looking for that gap. Would not get that boundary. Boundary riders all over. Deep mid-wicket, extra cover, long on, long off. And a slower delivery, cut away powerfully. Would find extra cover. A miscue and direct it, and it's gone. It goes up, pulling out something extraordinary there. A miscue, they've taken him on, and he's hit the wicket. Direct it, finds Unyong. Not within his crease. Just found him wanting. Let's see that again on replay. Slower delivery. That slower delivery cut away. And this misfield becomes an overthrow. A misfield again from him. And Unyong trying to take him on. Direct it. What a drama. From flopping into a very, very important run out. Takes Unyong out the game with just 2 more deliveries to go. Brings in Koforola. What a drama, Peter.
Brilliant bowling by Egosa, Isaac Okwe. Still yet to actualize the reason for taking out Durotoye Gideon. Wanted to come in and go on every ball and hasn't done that in any of his since coming in hasn't found the boundary ropes. The most he's had it to the board for the team is 2 runs off a ball. Hasn't gone beyond that. That was the last ball of this inning. Will it race to the boundaries for a rope 4? I guess not. Wasn't allowed. We did take 3. Yes, they do take 3. Wants to go for a 4th. No, and that will end the first inning of the eliminator round between the Middlebelt Tigers and the Southern Sharks. The Middlebelt Tigers restricting the Southern Sharks to 88 on the board, 85 on the board after 13 overs of play, which means that the Middlebelt Tigers will now be needing just 86 runs. Looking at the match summary, Gideon Durote, who was retired, registering 27 of 25 delivery. Daladi Isaac, 13 of 10. Kennedy Boniface before getting bowled out, 13 of 12 deliveries. Undubudem Elochuku, 2 wickets. He got 14 ball runs, 8 given in 3 overs. Both Rusebe Suleiman also getting 2 wickets. Egosa Adehu Destiny not picking up a wicket except that run out, but he's only giving now 17 runs. And we'll take a break as the first inning has closed, and we'll wait for the second innings.
Welcome to that big game that will determine the team that books a place in the final of the Nigeria Super League, the maiden edition, proudly sponsored by Rusa Advisory, Here's Energy, Dafabet, Ganho Investment Limited, Sego Family Foundation, and sanctioned by the Nigerian Cricket Federation under the leadership of Uyo Sanu Sawaru Akpata. The game that is up for your viewing pleasure is the Southern Sharks versus the Middlebelt Tigers. The Middlebelt Tigers are the home team, and they won the toss and elected to field, thereby putting their opponent, the Southern Sharks, to go and bat. And after all said and done, the Southern Sharks finished on 85 for loss of 6 wickets, with top performer being retired Durotoye Gideon, who scored 27 of 25 balls. Danladi Isaac, below par performance by his standard, scored 13 runs, same as Kenneth Boniface. And Undubudem Elochukwu and Sulaiman Rushewe both got 2 wickets each. Great start from Solomon Chilemaya, who has his eyes fixated on pulling away as the leading batter. And what a great start. Ismail Abdullahi coming from the pavilion end into his first over. The intent is clear. And talking about intent, the intent of Peter Oladosu is clear, that he just wants to enjoy this game and give you the best of commentary.
Yes, most certainly, that is the reason why we're all here. That's the reason why this competition was put together, to get the very best of the best and make sure that competition was at the maximum level and balanced. Quite a scare for the Southern Sharks, as they cannot afford to give out any freebies at this point of the game. Seeing the runs have been considered of every ball against Ismail, who has been one of the most economical bowlers in this tournament for the Southern Sharks. Putting that kid under this amount of pressure is no new thing to him, as he has done it on multiple occasions, sealing the game. Narrowly missing on the off stump, swinging out and into the gloves of the wicketkeeper. Looking at that replay again, you see just how close that was to giving a boost to the momentum of the Southern Sharks. Middlebelt Tiger taking the runs as slowly as necessary. Hits it down the line and all the way it will go to the boundary, taking advantage of the power play with the infield that has been fixated. Solomon Chilemanya playing that ball straight down and into the gap.
This is one of the best shots I love. This is what they call on a straight line. It was very straight, and that was a classic batting from Solomon Chilemaya of the bowling of Ismail Abdullahi. And ladies and gentlemen, that ends Solomon Chilemaya's reign in the batting crease. Ismail Abdullahi had the last laugh, and Solomon Chilemaya will not usurp Danladi Isaac on the batting leaderboard.
Yeah, the runs are still very much viable and can be reduced for the Middlebelt Tigers. You can see by the skipper telling the skipper of the Southern Sharks telling Iron Pressures who will come in for the second over to complement what Ismail Abdullahi has done so far, letting him know that he has to do his own fair share of contributing to a bowling economy, keep the runs as minimal as possible. It is still more runs than balls available. Bandus will certainly come, and Yenny Pressures will have to do his own part of making sure that it doesn't give any form of a freebie to the Middlebelt Tigers. Of the front field, that ball wasn't going anywhere as that was a late reaction from Okwara and Bat Samuel.
The captain has come on, Sulaiman Rushewe. We are due for a captain's innings from Sulaiman Rushewe. We've not seen much of that. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, another catch. They are losing wickets. Ismail Shitu gets the wicket of Samuel Okpara. Okpara once again not giving that kind of performance that is expected of him. Ayeni Precious gets a wicket that will definitely be precious to the Southern Sharks. See that again on replay. Backward point, almost fumbled it, but no, he didn't drop it.
A side that loves to catch the batters. I'm talking the Southern Sharks. And yesterday's encounter, the Southern Sharks love to set the field for catching opportunities. And the Middlebelt Tigers, who love to catch our batters, taking out 5 catches yesterday against the Northern Lions, are finding themselves at that receiving end as the Southern Sharks is taking 2 much needed wickets. Any more and we could be into the middle order, and any more we could be into the tail order. The Middlebelt Tigers understand that they need to start registering runs as quickly as possible.
They achieved what they wanted in the first innings by reducing their opponents to 85 runs, and they started out brightly in the first over, but unfortunately they lost the wicket of the man who was ready to do the needful for them in the batting crease, Solomon Chilimaya. And it's safe to say that 2 new batters will now start from ground zero, and these 2 batters are familiar foes, teammates at that under-19 team that made history for Nigeria, qualifying for the World Cup in South Africa after getting the ticket in difficult Windhoek, Namibia. 2 players who had once played for the same club before, the Island Titans Cricket Club, before Sulaiman Rushewe journeyed back to Ibeju Lekki Cricket Club 1, and 2 players who play for the same state as far as the National Sports Festival is concerned. They both represent Oyo State. So you can say Sulaiman Rushewe and Elijah Olaleye are familiar foes, and if these 2 stay, then they might take their team to that enviable height. Lovely piece of fielding there. They are doing everything humanly possible to make sure that this is a game for them. See that again on replay and see what Evangel Isesele had to do.
And all of a sudden, the runs have slowed down for the Middlebelt Tigers as that second over has been wrapped up very quickly. 10 runs is what's on the board with 2 wickets very quickly taken, which means that the Middlebelt Tigers will now be needing 76 runs of the next 66 delivery.
See that again on replay. That wicket precious it was for Ismail Abdullahi. And this definitely is a wicket of Okpara, who didn't have a good game in the previous game and has continued in that performance. And the two batters currently batting now, Elijah Olale and Sulaiman Ruche were the captain of the side.
A fielding error that could have seen the Middlebelt Tigers add another run to the board, was quickly curbed. We have a game in the hands here. Somehow it seemed like this runs was a chaseable field goal for the Middlebelt Tigers, but seeing 2 wickets being dislodged, the Middlebelt Tigers understand that they will not have this game easy, and Olale Elijah is off to a slow start. Was very explosive against the Northern Lions yesterday. The Middlebelt Tigers need that explosiveness, and they don't want it to come at the cost of his wickets. Run out attempt. Sees that opportunity for Olale to exchange strikes with Suleiman Rusewe. Gideon Dote seems to be in the hurt, trying to stop that ball earlier. Z was the one who reduced the force that ball came with. Will he be fit to play? But while the game will be on hold as Gideon is being engaged by the third umpire and the physio of the tournament, Olale Elijah off to a slow start.
What Team Saran Sharks are trying to do is to see a situation where the number of balls does not match with the number of runs. This was a classic batting that you'll have wished you continue to see, and this was the last ball of the first over, and there was a mistake in that shot that led to that catch. It was bowl and caught, and so 2 catches now has ensured that the 2 opening batters for the Middlebelt Tigers will be losing their wickets. Suleiman Rushewe has faced 3 balls, scored 2 runs. The same thing with Elijah Olale. 3 balls he has faced, scored 2 runs.
This is going to be very difficult for the Middlebelt Tigers. Seems that decisions are going against teams in a tournament. Yesterday, the Northern Lions wanted to field first, a decision that didn't really go their way, and the Southern Sharks, who were sent in to come in and bat, are looking to be in control, given just how low their runs is, but their bowling has been very, very effective in terms of complementing those runs that the batters have put up there. They currently sit at an 11-ball advantage, trying to defend these runs and making sure boundaries are not found. And the Middlebelt Tigers trying to push this wicket as far on before we see Olale Elijah pick up and start to go for the ropes.
While we commend the bowling of Ismail Abdullahi, who made his senior debut in December of last year when Nigeria hosted his 2nd West Africa Trophy, you have to say that these 2 batters on your screen understand what it means to wrestle a game from the jaws of defeat to victory. Lovely bowling there from Ismail Abdullahi, making things difficult for the batters in the batting crease. They need 73 runs in 60 balls. The current run rate is standing at 4.33, and what is required is 7.30. They need a good over. They need that over. And about time to bring on the player representative on the board of the Cricket Federation and former captain of Nigeria, Endurance of Fame, to the commentary position. Endurance, good morning and welcome.
Thank you, Ajidagba. And that one drifting down the leg side. Umpire Temitokwe Jabal not interested. But I'll tell you what, 73 of 59 deliveries, very possible. The experience of Ronshawe and Olale should be able to work this out anytime, any day. Ayeni Peters just drifting that one onto the leg stump line. That was a brilliant call by the umpire. For sure, Middle Belt Tigers not in a very great position, but 73 of 59 with the quality they've got requires the bowling side to continue to dominate with dot balls. And the dugout, we have that man who's also informed, David Ankra, waiting to go in next. We also have Egusa, both padded up and just waiting for the opportunity. And how Ronshawe and Olale manage to steer this ship from this moment depends solely on the captaincy's thinking. Just a single from that one with a slow outfield. It's probably going to be difficult here. Always going to be difficult to get runs in these conditions. The ball becomes heavier. And the bowlers have that advantage. However, might be difficult to grip as well. So they have to be extremely careful. All it takes is one bad over, and Middle Belt Tigers are into this game. Short delivery. Straight to the fielder. Run out opportunity and misses out. And more dangerous running between wickets here. They will smuggle that one, but for every dot ball here, the bowling side will be happy with proceedings. And the question is, the potentials are there to get the runs. Are they going to get them? Olale, Ronshawe, David Ankra, and Egosa. Poor running between wicket here. Ball watching. Elijah Olale. Ronshawe wants it. They run at everything. The slight mistakes by fielders, they would run on that. Clearly, you can see that from that action. Ayeni Peter.
3.5 overs automatically brings us to the end of the power play by virtue of it being 13 overs. But things are not going according to plans, except something changes. That's what we require from Captain Sulaiman Rushawe. They need those runs. They want one more. But ball raised to 4. Those are the kind of things we want from Sulaiman Rushawe, the captain, who on his day can do what is required. And see that again, that chase ended in futility from Boniface.
Now requiring 67 from 54 deliveries. Current run rate is seated on 4 and over. They require 7. And this partnership has got the ability and the potential to go through. The question is, how soon will this be done? Well, yes, to remind us, the winner here today goes straight to the finals, while the loser will wait for the winner between the third and fourth place teams, which is the format. Finals and third place will happen on Saturday. But this afternoon we have crucial games in our hand to determine who gets the opportunity. Skipper himself back into the attack now. Okpe Isaac, as the elder brother of Sylvester Okpe, who's also the captain of Northern Lions. More and more pressure here.
Four overs gone. Isaac Okpe ball not threatening the Storms. They now know that they need a boundary, and scoring runs off every ball is very, very pivotal to them getting into the final.
They know they have to work extremely hard to catch up. However, one way you're going to go through this is to get a single every delivery, and then hopefully one bound ball comes that will fetch you that boundary, and that will easily make it 8-9 and over, depending on how you're able to manage those singles. That's what we're talking about. That's a single from this one. It has to be clearly calculated, and that partnership needs to speak into it. Olale and Ronshaw will have to keep talking to themselves. And that's what you need to get through. There's 4 singles, perhaps a boundary at some point, and then you can catch up later. They need to do that for 5 overs, and they're into this game. And they probably will win by 8 wickets if they do that. But the question is, as long as risks that will be taken will be calculated, that's what you don't want to do, Isaac Okwe. White ball, umpire NSC Amoto. Habib signaling to the scorers.
2 good deliveries have just been bowled. So we are expecting 4 more good balls. Elijah Olale yet to get into the groove, same as Sulaiman Rushewe.
Well, that should have been match-winning position. You don't want to let those ones go. They all count, the numbers, the catches, the win matches. I wonder what could be going on through Ronshawe and Olale's mind. But for me, I think for a batter like David Ankra, he should be batting at number 4 in T20 cricket, because he's got the ability to take you apart. Oh, brilliant, leading one, easy. That is the wicket they need. And Isaac Okwe, the skipper himself, gets that breakthrough. However, this could mean well for the Middle Belt Tigers, because now they probably have David Ankra strolling into bat. And David is a bit of an aggressive batter. But look at that wicket again. He looked to walk it on the us, but didn't really. That was probably the neck of the bat. And he would depart. Easy catch. Happy moment for the field inside. All smiles by the Sharks.
The Sharks like to be in the water. The tiger likes to be in the bush. That is the terrestrial animal versus the amphibian. But there must be a common ground, and that common ground is Tafawa Balewa Keroba. In comes Gosa Agedo to come in to go and bat. See that again on replay. Indecision on the part of Elijah Olale, and that made him lose his wicket.
For me, I'm trying to understand this batting lineup. There's no way a guy such as David Ankra, who's been in form, is being left this late, because another 3 overs means a lot of pressure under Ankra. But if he comes in now, if he had come in now, he probably walked his way through this innings. But let's hope that Egosa will do that. There are different kinds of batters. Brilliant start. And straight up. A fielder in the deep mid-wicket region will have to get involved in just a single or the way to start your innings. And smart is to bring the guy who's in on strike as much as possible.
While I share your sentiment, endurance, they say coaches live and die with their decision. The coach of the Middleware Tigers, Daniel Gim and Aziz Salako, thought it wise to bring in Ehosa, and they will just hope that this decision pays off at the end of the day.
Well, Ajidagwa, life is about decisions, and one will have to make one at every point in time. Whether you face the good or bad consequences, time will tell. And that brings us to the end of day 5th over. It's 24 for the loss of 3 wickets 62 required of 48 deliveries. Current run rate seated at 4, required at 7.5. That's the wicket haul again. All three bowlers have taken one apiece. Ismail Abdullahi, Ayeni Precious, and Isaac Ukbe, 1 for 5, 1 for 4, and 1 for 5 respectively. The first two bowlers, 2 overs apiece, and Isaac only 1. Isaac now will be bowling his second over.
But ladies and gentlemen, from what I can see, Ayeni Precious has been entrusted with the ball. They say if it's not broken, you don't fix it. After bowling 2 overs, he has given away 8 runs and has 1 wicket to his credit. And he'll be bowling again to Sulaiman Rushewe.
No is the call on that one. No, the dugout now is speaking. They know the pressure is there. Rushewe is the captain of his side. He knows what the needs are. 62 off 47. Those 24 from 4 overs. And too much movement there. Perhaps if he could just stay still, he might be able to get a lot of contact. He's walked before the bowler comes. The bowlers, of course, sees him and then slow it down a bit. Always going to be difficult to get off and watch you're moving while the bowler releases the ball. Let's see what happens here now. The skipper himself, nobody needs to tell him what to do. Yeah, the smuggle is single there. Negosa wanting the strike, he knows it. He has it, and let's see how he can manipulate this field. Required run rate is gradually moved into the 8th over mark.
Well, I understand that Samuel Umba has had terrible tournament as far as batting is concerned. One would have thought that a Solomon Chilemaya still batting now could have been a different story entirely. Appeal there, but Temitokpe Onikoyi Jabbar is not interested.
For sure. Very good decision on call by the umpire. Look at that delivery again. It was too high. A brilliant shot, but it will just be a single, that one. A lot of questions being asked on that golden channel line, and these bowlers are not giving anything away. Well, it's been decent bowling so far. Shimmies down the wicket, yet just a single. A brilliant bowling by Ayeni. He's done well for his team. 27 for 3 now. I beg your pardon, 28 for 3. Now 58 required.
Look at the batting of the Middlebelt Tigers, Solomon Chilemaya. 7 from 5 balls faced. Okpara Samuel Umba, 1 run from 3 balls faced. Sulaiman Rushewe still batting, has faced 15 balls, scored 10 runs. Elijah Olaleye faced 10 balls, scored 4 runs. And Eosa Agedo Destiny has faced 3 balls and scored 2 runs. Yet to bat, David Ankra, the man, Durance, is agitating for Rashida Bolari, Osai Bokan Ewere, Odimolade Pelumi, Awodele Shino, and Undubudem Elochukwu David. 58 runs in 42 balls.
I say we have a game in our hands. Not going to be easy, but it's a Higbema miracle that will be attacking from the pavilion end of this prestigious over. Umpire Enesi Dairu. Oh, disappointing for him. That one There seems to be width on that one. Brilliant cricket. Plenty of noise on the field. Bowlers, fielders itching the bowlers up. Brilliant shot. And that's the standard you want to see. Sooner or later, they will come. As Egosa, look at it again, right on the money. And he wouldn't wait inside out, over, wildish, long off. Egosa, the man of the moment, quickly is run to 8 of 6 deliveries. And Ronshaw is seated at 10 of 15. Plays round at 1 and he departs. Indecision. He wanted to come and decides to just walk around that. Unfortunately, is what we talk about. Again, it's Middle Belt Tigers who are in all sorts of trouble. 34 for the loss of 4 wickets in just 6.4 overs. Now they will struggle. And that man we've waited for, David Ankra.
34 for 4 is the story. And I recall having a conversation with Isaac Okwe. Is it a case of revenge on your mind after that loss? Or you just want to get this going? And his response was, we don't want any extra game aside from playing in the final. Because anyone who loses here now will have to wait for the winner between the Central Eagles versus their opponent. Talking about the Northern Lions. That was a turn there. That could have threatened the wicket of David Ankra.
Beautiful batting, soft hands. He knows what is required. Just keep rotating the strike for as long as possible. And for sure, results will come.
See that ball that threatened the wicket of David Ankra. You will have left without putting his name on the batting chart. And 7 overs gone, 6 more good overs to go. They need 51 runs in 36 balls. And from one spinner to another, see that batting partnership, Solomon Chilemaya and Okpara Mba Samuel. 8 runs from 6 balls. Sulaiman Rushewe and Okpara Mba Samuel didn't score any runs from 2 balls. Sulaiman Rushewe and Elijah Olale, 20 balls they faced, scored 14 runs. And currently, Rushewe and Ehosa, 12 from 12. Those ones are gone, and he will be hoping to have a better partnership with David Ankra, who is the striker now.
A brilliant piece of fielding. That's one thing about David. He would try to get singles. He knows how important that is. Just shaking off those butterflies off. Oh no, disappointing. Disappointing.
Misplaced fielding from Ismail Shitu. But the fact that the Sharks are reducing the Tigers from scoring boundaries is one good thing that is working in their favor. Danladi Isaac and Sulaiman Rushewe are no strangers. They both represent the same club, Ibeju Lekki Cricket Club 1. And Danladi Isaac now be bowling to David Ankra. They were formerly in the same club, the Foundation Cricket Club, before he jumped ship to Ibeju Lekki Cricket Club 1.
A brilliant single there. More and more pressure. It's about battle of intellect here. 40 runs already. 4 wickets gone. We're into the 5th ball of the 8th over. He goes big. He stand and deliver that one. Maximum it is. This is the timing we're talking about. The longer you stay, the better you become. That's Ronshawe expressing himself. He knows it. And look at that delivery again. And that shot, just in the slot, he knows. He also does it. So he understands what it takes. And what this means is that we are 46 for 4. 40 from 31 balls. He didn't get through that one. He was hoping.
That was a trickish ball, reminiscent of what happened to Ehosa. That is 40 runs needed from 30 balls. What a game we have on our hands here. The Middlebelt Tigers, the bench, the coaching staff will be hoping for that miracle that they require. David Ankra has faced 4 balls. He's only scored 3. Sulaiman Ruchewe is on 100% strike rate. 19 balls he has faced, scored 19 runs. Miracle Aigbe is back again into his second over. In his first over, 7 runs was given and he got a wicket to his credit. The last time these two teams faced, like I said, it was the Middlebelt Tigers winning by 5 wickets. It was even a frenetic finish because that last over, they required 3 runs from 6 balls. That is what they require. And they are starting out very well, trying to close up things. David Ankra picking the ball very well. And you can see the assistant coach and the team manager going around to have a conversation with the players, especially those on the boundary rope. Jamal Okechukwu. They want to do two is the call. Lovely piece of, ladies and gentlemen, excellent. What a throw. He ran out his teammate at national team. He ran out his captain at the national team. He ran out his teammate at club level. Oh my world. My, oh my.
That's what brilliant fielding can do. Look at her running between the wickets. And that quick pickup one time, that man, Danladi Isaac, clearly he was nowhere near. Brilliant decision by umpire NSC. This is what they call fielding makes things easier when you do things right. There is nowhere, no place whatsoever that Ronshawe and David Ankra wouldn't have taken the game away. If the Sharks are to win this game, this is the turning point.
That was a risk. Like they say in life, no pain, no gain. Was a risk well taken. And up in the air and safe. Great piece of fielding there. Rashid Abolari has been entrusted with the bat to score runs and probably take his team to victory. He's one of those batters who can be very unpredictable. And it's gone. And I was talking about unpredictability. This is what this kind of thing brings. Unpredictability. Rashid Abolari, I told you, can be very unpredictable. And one of the unpredictabilities is if he connects, he sends the ball to the boundary. If he does not, he walks without registering his name as one of those who scored today. See that again on replay. Aigbe having a good over. That was stomping at his best. And see that celebration from Miracle saying that was miraculous bowling. Kuforola Lukman, who was one of those that the laid accusing fingers at, is doing what is expected of him now. See that again. He didn't register any run. David Ankra is still expected to do justice to batting. And in comes Undubudem Elochukwu, left-hand batter. And ball slips. But it will just be for one. From what should be a no run, eventually became one run. The onus lies on David Ankra, a man who has been to many wars, former Ghanaian international, but now represents Nigeria, and the captain of Foundation Cricket Club, the man who scored the fastest 50 at Club Cricket Committee League. And he's thinking about everything now. He knows a lot is rested upon his shoulder. Current run rate stands at 6.00, and what is required is 8 points. See that again, that run out. You want to see it again and again. 70 running out 7. And see how Rashid Ayomide Abolari departs without registering his name. And see that celebration again. Kuforola Lukman, simply call him active. Danladi Isaac is back. That over of his 11 runs was given, including a maximum. They need David Ankra to come through for them now. Endurance, been in this kind of situation before.
Brilliant shot. This time finds the gap. They should run too comfortably. Yes, it will be. I thought that run between Ronshawe and David was quite disrespectful to Danladi Isaac, one of the finest Nigeria has. He's got a big heart, good hands, sharp on the field, one of the best fielders around. You don't have any right whatsoever to take off that arm. And that has cost them 2 wickets. Look at that. I told you about this guy. He's a match winner. Look at that. Look at that again. Athleticism there at his best. I was just talking about him, and he proves me right again. That man, at the moment, is one of the finest Nigeria have gotten. Just look at that athleticism there. Very difficult position. Look at that. Goes there and takes that one-handed. Still have the opportunity to run out the non-striker if he wanted to. What a way for David to depart. And I'll tell you what, this might be it for the Middle Beltons.
2 names in the scripture. David danced when he conquered Goliath. But this Isaac did something to the David. And ladies and gentlemen, 7 wickets lost for the Middlebelt Tigers. They need 30 runs in 22 balls. Will it be Orimolade Pelumi and Ndubudem Eluchuku that will bring this game home for the Middlebelt Tigers in a dramatic fashion?
Oh, he once said he feels there's a necking. Yes, Shady Parks. More and more. Clearly, this is a match-winning player of the match performance by Danladi Isaac. He's taking 2 crucial wickets now, 2 run-outs. This is cricket at its best. Go back, say it. It's 56 for 8 from a very good position between Sulaiman Ronshewe, Elijah Olaleye, and then Egosa, and then David. Those 4 wickets have no business losing this game.
The wicketkeeper added a bit of drama, unnecessary drama, I must say, because immediately Kufrola Lukman got up, and it's quite unfortunate that things are turning out the way they are turning out. And was it a case of the Middlebelt Tigers feeling, even if we lose this game, there is still another chance to get into the final? Or was it a case of underrating the Southern Sharks by virtue of what they put up in the first innings? And truth be told, looking at the batting lineup of the Middlebelt Tigers, a team that lost just 1 game in the round robin, restricting their opponents to that score, but things are not going according to plans. Osaigbo Khan, to be honest, doesn't look like that batter that can do that job. But impossibility, they say, is nothing. Now is the turn of 2 left-hand batters. Osaigbo Khan has a lot to do. Ewere himself and Ndubudem Eluchuku off 19 balls now. They need 29 runs. I'm sure the likes of Sulaiman Rushewe, Elijah Olaleye, David Ankra, Solomon Chilemaya, Samuel Umba, all will be wondering what happened.
Ajidagba, look at that delivery again. I can't fathom how this boy is able to do all this. Running a one-man show here. Just look at him. Yes, I am the boss. You would always see that. And that wicked faint edge, the umpire just knowing something was there. But I'll tell you what, Ndubudem, a slugger you can call him, or a guy who can swing his bat at the ball. 28 of 18 is still possible. We've seen tailenders win games like this. You never know. You never know until it's over. And it's end of the 10th over, 58 for 8. The current run rate is 5 with a need of being 9. But anything can happen. I've seen cricket in this fashion. Carlos Bradworth will tell us about that in the World Cup. Then anything, Ndubudem could just be the man. Or Saigbo Khan.
Isaac Okwe is back. He shouts for 1. Abdullahi will help him with that. Much later, we will be seeing the Central Eagles slugging it out with the Northern Lions, Peter Aho versus Sylvester Okwe. Who gets to the final? It's still everything to play for. We'll continue to pour eulogies about that catch. run out chance, and eventually they get one from a situation where there was no run. And Endurance, I must say that catch of Danladi Isaac, I wish I can analyze that catch. One of the goalkeepers, famous goalkeepers that made catching with that impossible hand famous was Oliver Kahn. He uses that weaker finger to stretch and parry the ball. And if you look at Danladi Isaac, his strongest arm is the right, but he went with the left, which was not the strongest. Caught the ball, landed, and he was still standing with it.
For me, the interesting part, if you look at this video, you see there, he was still trying to protect the pitch. He didn't want to step on that wicked area. Just look at that. That shows the awareness he has in him. Proud moment he is.
It reminds me of myself as a goalkeeper. One of these days, before this tournament ends, I'm going to allow the producer, he must show some of the clips of me doing some of these things I keep talking about, so the world can know that I'm not a liar, but rather someone who says it and does it. The game is almost winding down. Big shout out to everyone who made yesterday very glamorous and spectacular. And I must give props to the entire selection panel team that eventually landed. Stephen Maziva Mangongo, from the man who represents the board on North Central, and the chairman of the selection panel, Daria Imola, to Mr. Dikpo Idowu, former Nigeria International, and former Ogun State Cricket Association chairman, to my brother, my friend, Endurance Ofem, representative of the player on the board, and former captain of Nigeria, to Olumide Akintokun, who is on the board as the technical rep, and also leaving out Mr. Tayo Atului, former Nigeria International, and the representative on the board of the Cricket Federation from the Southwest. And sometimes he likes to pride himself as one of the finest umpire. Boss, wherever you are listening from, you can come and officiate. Let's see you do your thing. 26 runs is what is required. See that again. Only 2 players got into double digits. Sulaiman Rusha went 19 from 19 and David Ankra 12 from 10. Every other person, none got into double digits. Says a lot about the bowling of these Sharks, who are biting and biting very hard.
Clamoring for a second, that's what they want.
What was that? That's sure 2 runs.
You never can say after seeing that direct hit run out, you don't want to take the man again on.
Endurance is Ismail, not Danladi.
Well, that's what pressure does. One fielder does it right, the next one could do it right. Brilliant shot this time through the covers. They will get a couple. Oh, disappointing. Not what you want to do at this time. You have to be extremely careful of what you desire. And that brings us to the end of the 11th over. It is 66. I beg your pardon. "66 runs after 11 overs.
That's Ismail Abdullahi, the man who was accountable for the wicket of Solomon Chilemaya. After hitting him for that lovely straight drive, see that again. What looks more like just comfortable 2 runs. That pressure again.
Such an unfortunate state, the bounce and the bumpiness in that near boundary ropes area. Didn't really give the fielder a chance. One thing for sure is 12 deliveries left and 21 required.
Saik Bokan.
Bowls him, clean. Bowls him. Saik Bokan on the parts. It's Danladi Isaac who gets his stead. Happy moment for that man. 2 brilliant moments as a fielder. And just making sure every time he holds the ball, he makes his team smile. Look at that delivery again. This one through that wicket line.
Just imagine that run out did not happen to Sulaiman Rushewe. Just imagine David Ankra did not lose his wickets against Danladi Isaac. There is a constant. For those of you who love mathematics, I always exclude myself. In maths, one thing that you always find is they will always tell you, find x, x, x. And the question is, where has x gone to? But in this game, there is a constant x, and that x is Danladi Isaac. Accounted for the wicket of David Ankra, accounted for the wicket of Sulaiman Rushewe. Those 2 wickets, and Jonathan said it and he reiterated, were precious wickets because he has been there before. I recall one memory of Endurance of Fame as a captain of Nigeria against Tanzania at the Willomo Cricket Ground, where Nigeria defeated Tanzania 7 runs to win, 6 balls. Endurance of Fame had a conversation with Sean Phillips. Who do we give the ball to? And they had to entrust that ball with Saeed Akolade. That was one moment I will never forget. Endurance shared that story with us.
Well, as a captain, you have to trust your players, but you have to remember whatever decisions you make, at the end of the day, it comes back to make you a hero or haunt you for the rest of your life. And those moments were very brilliant moments where captains say, you know, this time he swipes at that one. They will get a couple. He wants the second. Yes, 2 runs completed. And in the parts, what was he doing? What was he doing? Everything is just going wrong for Middlebelt Tigers. And this is disappointing to see that a team once in a very comfortable position will find themselves in all sorts of trouble. 86 runs was doable. No gainsaying. Just look at that throw. And the fielder, the batter, Shino, nowhere to be found around the crease. Again, that fielding partnership has made this happen.
Thank you, Endurance. They say Shino means open the gate or open the way. But what did Shino do? He opened the way for the Southern Sharks to play in the final come Saturday. And see that again, the match summary on your screen. Durotoye Gideon, top batter, 27 runs from 25 balls. Danladi Isaac and Kenneth Boniface both scored 13. Undubudem Melochukwu had 2 wickets, same as Sulaiman Rushewe. And for the batting, Sulaiman Rushewe, the top batter, scored 19 runs from 19 balls. David Ankra, 12 runs, and Undubudem, 8 runs. Danladi Isaac was a constant. He had 8 3 wickets for 17 runs in 2.3 overs. Aigbe Miracle, 2 wickets for 15 runs in 2 overs. And Ismail Abdullahi, of course, 1 wicket. That's how things panned out. The Middlebelt Tigers have another opportunity to play in the final if they get to win between the Central Eagles versus the Northern Lions. Over to my colleague Peter Oladoshu as he will be taking the post-match of this very important game. And much later, it will be the turn of the big one we are expecting. Congratulations to the Southern Sharks. They lost their first game, but bounced back to get into the final. They lost against the Northern Lions in their first game, and now they are playing in the final. What a game! What a game! And the Middlebelt Tigers will live to fight another day. Big shout out to our 2 umpires, umpire Temitope Oniko Ijaba and umpire Habib Dairu Amoto Enesi. Congratulations to the 2 coaches also. Coach Sheyi Shonde, very unassuming coach, and Coach Onwundiwe Okechukwu Jamal. Better luck to the Middlebelt Tigers.
Yeah, tomorrow
It is a post-match presentation of the first eliminator game between the Middlebelt Tigers and Southern Sharks. A game where Middlebelt Tigers sent in the Southern Sharks to bat first and couldn't chase up the runs, needing to score 83 to win that game. And very quickly, we are going to call the skipper of the Middlebelt Tigers, Suleiman Rusewe. Top game for you, Suleiman Rusewe, and your side. This game will have put you in positions of going to the finals. But unfortunately, you've lost the game, but still ended another lifeline. What will you speak about your team's momentum so far?
I thought earlier on in the first inning, I think we gave a lot of boundary balls, which I felt cost us at the end of the day. And later on, guys find it difficult to understand the ground, which I think I feel difficult, but I couldn't carry the team through.
Yes, your team has another lifeline, given that the winner between the Central Eagles and Northern Lions today will play you for the final playoff spot. How does your team plan to approach that fixture?
I think we take him, we get a flashback about how we have been winning our game. We look after the processes, and I think we take it as it comes.
Thank you very much. And very quickly, the skipper of the Western Sharks and the first team already in the finals, Isaac Okwe. Isaac Okwe, at some point it looked like the runs were quite little to chase. How did your team approach this game with that opportunity?
Thank God we batted first, and so we got to know that the wicket was slow. So because it was slow, we knew 80 was going to be difficult for them to chase. So all we just need our bowlers to do was to just bowl good length areas. The ball is going to do anything. Some will bounce up, some will stay low. So we knew the wicket was slow. It's not difficult to hit boundaries of the ball. So that's why we took advantage of that, get more dot balls, and they came under pressure and started losing their wickets.
Already the first team in the finals of the Nigerian Super League. How do you assess your team's individual performances that contributed to this feat?
I feel every single one of the team member put in every effort they have, because without every team member's effort, we wouldn't have gotten to this stage. So everybody believed in their abilities and believed in the team, and we all put our hands together, and now we're in the finals.
Thank you very much for that, Isaac. And for the Player of the Match award, the fourth player to pick up second Player of the Match award with 13 runs with the bat and with the ball picking up 3 wickets and only giving 17 runs. It is none other than Isaac Danladi of the Southern Sharks. And to be presented to him will be Igwase Wadiali. Danladi Isaac, talk us through your performance today for your team in contributing not just with the bat but also with the ball.
For my own ability as a batsman all rounder, I think I fell short of when I was batting, and I didn't judge the way the wicket was playing. So, secondly, when I think we were failing, I just told myself to keep it simple. If it's there for, just look for the turn, and it works for me.
Thank you very much. And that is it for the post-match presentation. One team already in the final. The second team will be given another lifeline of making that final spot. Thank you very much.